Hi, I'm Glenn.
And I'm Brent.
And we're the Penumbra Brothers.
We focus on you. Hey everybody, this is Brent. We're going to talk about T-spine today. So T-spine is typically just an APN lateral. There are rare cases we might take an oblique, but what I've experienced is most people, as they're a young radiographer, they tend to cut off the top of the T-spine. Remember, the T-spine is a couple inches above the top of your sternum here, above the level of your shoulders. You've got a lot of room down below. So we're going to talk about AP and lateral T-spine. So Lila's been so gracious to help us today. So she's going to kind of put her back up against our IR here. We're going to set her about midline. Got my left marker here, a little bit off center there. Be aware, if you haven't looked at a radiograph of somebody before, a lot of people have some idiopathic scoliosis. It's not visible if you just look at them. So I don't never go quite too tight on my AP until I know that they don't have that scoliosis. I don't want to cut off any of the anatomy. So we're going to bring this up. We're going to go a couple inches above the top of the manubrium there, the jugular notch. I'm going to open it up lengthwise. Keep it fairly narrow. Maybe step over me just ever so slightly. That looks good. Okay. And there's tons of room. If you'd point at your xiphoid process, so that's about T10. So if you can picture, we've got all the way down to probably L2 there. You've got plenty of room to work with on a T-spine. Just be aware, make sure you get that IR up high enough. You're going to cut off T1. This is what we're going to do is we're going to have Lila take a big, deep breath. And we're going to make the exposure on full inspiration. That moves that diaphragm down, so we're shooting through mostly air, the entire thoracic spine, and we get a nice even density. So big breath in, hold it, make the exposure, and there's our AP. For lateral, I'm going to have her turn towards me. I'm not going to mess with my tube. I'm not going to mess with my IR because I'm pretty sure she didn't get taller or shorter between first exposure, second exposure. Have her raise her both arms up above her head. Have her step over to the IR and come about a half step towards me. Good. I'll kind of look here, make sure I've got one there. Looks like she's lateral. Now, remember for a chest x-ray, we're going to tilt that patient a few more degrees to make the illusion that we have a nice lateral, get those posterior ribs to line up. Because we're not centering the chest, we're centering back posterior of the chest. We don't need to do that in this view. So same thing, we want it nice and still, nice big breath, make the exposure, and there's a lateral T-spine.